years ago, the Giants played the Cardinals here in St. Louis. It was the next to last week of the season, and both teams were fighting for the playoffs. The Giants relied on an overpowering defense led by a rookie linebacker named Lawrence Taylor, and his victim was another rookie, quarterback Neil Lomax. This decisive play helped put the Giants into the playoffs. Now Neil Lomax is wiser, more established, and more productive. And the Cardinals have a big play weapon in Roy Green, who has scored more touchdowns than any other receiver in the NFC. Giants quarterback Phil Simms was an injured spectator when that playoff dream became reality 3 years ago. But now the Giants don't have to depend on their defense alone. Phil Simms has given the attack a new dimension, the ability to strike quickly. 3 years later, same teams and the same dreams. It's the Giants and the Cardinals with so much at stake.
The New York Giants against the St. Louis Cardinals.
Well, there's electricity in the air, and there's a lot of emotion in this ball game. This is just the start of a big NFC East shootout, starting with this game, and of course later on it'll be the Redskins and the Cowboys. The Giants know if they win this game and next week, they are the division champions. The Cardinals need to win both as well, but they're going to need some help. And of course, there are many, many other ramifications which we'll try to explain during the afternoon. Hello again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton, along with my partner Hank Stram, and here we are, Hank, in the 15th week of the year, and these teams were real long shots to be where they are right now back then.
Well, a lot of people at the beginning of the season didn't think the New York Giants would win maybe but four or five games. And of course, the St. Louis Cardinals were expected to win more games, really, I think, than they've actually won so far this season. But I think in the final analysis, you know, it's a pressure game for both teams. Talking to the coaches, both coaches deny the fact that it's a pressure game because they want to keep their team as loose as they possibly can keep them. But that's what it's going to be. It's going to be the team that plays it better in a pressure situation is going to wind up winning the game. They have to not play scared football. They can't be afraid to lose the game. They got to be on the attack, make something happen, and play with the idea of winning the game. In the final analysis, the team that can control the emotion, the better of the two teams, will probably win.
And Hank, you've been there before, and so you know what you're talking about. Look at the temperature, 53 degrees, a beautiful afternoon for early December. Ali Haji Sheikh will kick off for the Giants. The Cardinals have won the toss, and there's the dangerous Stump Mitchell, who is fifth in the conference in kickoff returns, and he's back there with Willard Harrell and Randy Love. The game is underway. The kickoff going to Stump Mitchell at the 3. Mitchell is run out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Let's check the St. Louis Cardinals offense for you. Neil Lomax, the quarterback. Otis Anderson and Earl Farrell are the running backs. Roy Green and Pat Tilley, a good combination of wide receivers. Doug Marsh is the tight end. Louis Sharp, Terry Steve, Randy Clark, Joe Bostic, and Tootie Robbins up front. It's been a healthy offensive line. Steve has missed just one game. Otherwise, they've been intact. First and 10 at the 22-yard line. And Hank, we're seeing a Cardinal team that threw early in the year and has been running as of late.
I think they ran last week because that's what they had a chance to do. That's what they gave them. But I think their personality is pretty balanced, and I think they really like to throw the football as much as they can.
They're going to throw on first down. Lomax pumps and hits Doug Marsh's tight end over the middle to the 31-yard line, 32. Gary Reasons makes the tackle, shy of a first down by about a yard. Now the Giants defense, Jerome Sally is starting in place of Jim Burt at nose tackle, but they tell us Burt will play in the game. The linebackers, Byron Hunt and Lawrence Taylor outside, Gary Reasons and Harry Carson inside, and the secondary, Haynes and Perry Williams at the corners, Bill Currier and Terry Kennard, the safeties. Neil Lomax threw 4 interceptions in the first game against the Giants, and a first down for the Cardinals. Here's Otis Anderson, and Anderson is hit immediately by Leonard Marshall. Barely got back to the line of scrimmage, and a man the Cardinals will have to look out for all day, Hank.
They have to make sure they block him. They actually have to know where he is all the time. Here you see him blitzing from the outside position, meets the back good and low, and contains the running of Anderson. But the key was the fact that Lawrence Taylor was able to get penetration. Anytime he gets penetration, you're out of business offensively.
Well, you talked about Terry Steve missing only one game, and he is being helped off the field right now. And so Steve, number 68, a 9-year veteran who's had a lot of knee problems in his career, is being replaced by a rookie, Doug Dawson. So Dawson, a rookie from Texas, replaces Terry Steve after the second play of the ball game. It'll be 2nd down and 10 for the Cardinals at the 32-yard line. Giants coming in with their pass rush combination, including Casey Merrill, number 71, who's 2nd on the team in sacks, and George Martin, number 75. In motion goes Roy Green. And here's Otis Anderson off the left side. Stumbles, has a first down and more, driving to midfield into Giant territory, and a big gain by Otis Anderson. Terry Kennard and Perry Williams make the stop on Otis Anderson.
That's a counter play with the right guard Bostic and the right tackle pulling on the play. He gets through a big hole, gets good running room, gets a good lean, and finishes well. Finishing meaning that he gets good yardage after he gets down the field. Watch, Lawrence Taylor comes across. Bostic is able to get a piece of him. And in spite of that, why Anderson is able to go inside in good shape and pick up the necessary yardage for the first down. I think they expected a pass, and they crossed him up with the run.
20-yard gain by Otis Anderson. The Cardinals in a 2 tight end set now. Giants showing they may be blitzing. 1st and 10 on the 49. Lomax firing. He's got Roy Green, and Reed has the ball at the 37-yard line. A gain of 13. Mark Haynes makes the tackle. A quick pass to Roy Green.
Roy Green is coming, just driving on the inside of the defensive back. There you see him. Drives to the outside. And, of course, Mark Haynes, number 36, played him outside enough where he had enough of a cushion inside and was able to make the catch on the quick post.
Roy Green is 2nd in the NFL in receiving yards. He's been frustrated lately. Lack of a 3rd wide receiver, and they've been ganging up on number 81, but he was open there. 1st and 10 for the Cardinals at the Giant 37. 2 backs are Otis Anderson and Earl Farrell. Lomax to throw. Complete. Once again, Roy Green. This good for 15 yards and another St. Louis first down.
This time Perry Williams, the right cornerback, is playing man for man, and they have a tendency to play the outside. He makes an outside move, comes inside. The ball is thrown right on the money inside of Perry Williams, and he picks up another big gain and a big play on the last shot to Roy Green.
So it's another first down for the Cardinals, looking crisp on offense on this first drive. They're at the Giant 23. Less than 4 minutes gone by in this ball game, and the Cardinals are threatening. A pitch to Anderson, and Anderson is hit immediately, and a fine play by Lawrence Taylor. Taylor throws Anderson for a loss of about 2 yards, and they didn't block out number 56.
Doug Marsh is blocking. Watch, trying to block Lawrence Taylor. He's trying to stay up in his face. He's holding him, but in spite of that, why Lawrence Taylor comes off the block and makes the tackle. A great play by Lawrence Taylor.
He's called this the game of all games.
It's very obvious, too, that Lawrence Taylor will always line up on the tight end side wherever Doug Marsh is. They have 2 tight ends. He'll always be on Doug Marsh. That looks like what the game plan is going to be.
Loss of 2, 2nd down and 12, back at the 25. Giants won the first meeting 16-10 at Giant Stadium. 2nd and long, Lomax trying to find a receiver. Incomplete. George Martin almost nailed him from behind. The intended receiver was Greg LaFleur, the 2nd tight end. So the Giants came storming in with 2nd and long on that play. Roy Green has 9 touchdown receptions. That's tops in the NFC. But it was easier early. Look at what Green did. The first 8 games, he caught 8. Only 1 touchdown reception in the last 6 games.
And it's obvious because I think the more touchdowns he caught, the more people were concerned about double and triple coverage. And for that reason, his productivity of touchdown passes was diminished.
Andy Hedden replaces Byron Hunt. An outside linebacker, number 54 at the top of your picture. 3rd down and 12 at the 25. Inside handoff to Stump Mitchell. And Mitchell just going to get back to the original line of scrimmage, and it was the man who came into the ball game, Andy Hedden, who made the stop, and a crunching stop on diminutive Stump Mitchell, and it'll be 4th down for the Cardinals.
Boy, you talk about a good tackle. Down there good and low, using the shoulder pads, getting your arms wrapped around the ball carrier. Andy Hedden did a super job, number 54.
So now Neil O'Donohue will be in to try to give the Cardinals a lead. Remember, it was last year that O'Donohue missed 3 field goals in overtime that could have given St. Louis a victory. He'd like to make amends against the team he had problems with. This will be a 40-yard attempt with Benny Perrin holding. And he has been a hot kicker as of late. And O'Donohue's kick is no good. It is off to the left. So O'Donohue misses. He had hit 5 in a row in 10 of his last 12 before he missed that 40-yard field goal. So the Giants will take over on offense when Hank and I come back to Busch Stadium. Giants have the ball for the first time on the 23, and the Cardinals came out.
Very obvious. The Cardinals came out doing what they like to do. They expressed their personality. They sure did not play scared football.
See what the Giants do. 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line. In motion is wide receiver Bobby Johnson, and Sims will also throw on the first play. And that pass is caught by Bobby Johnson, the wide receiver. And the ball out close to the 30-yard line. The Giants on offense, backing up Phil Sims, Rob Carpenter and Joe Morris, the running backs. Lionel Manuel and Bobby Johnson, the wide receiver. Zeke Moat's the tight end. Brad Benson, Billy Ard, Kevin Belcher, Chris Godfrey, and Carl Nelson up front. Nelson had a big game against Mark Gastineau of the Jets last week. And the Giants have won 5 out of 6 since Chris Godfrey moved from tackle to guard. 2nd down and 3 at the 30-yard line. Here is Joe Morris trying to turn the corner, but he can't. And he stopped for no gain. A good hustling defense, and the man in the middle, E.J. Jr., who has been sensational since moving from the outside, making the tackle. Cardinals defensively, they go with the 4-3 with Baker, Ramsey Dardar, David Galloway, and Curtis Greer, a strong right side. The linebackers, Thomas Howard and Charlie Baker outside. Jr. made the tackle in the middle. Lionel Washington and Wayne Smith are the cornerbacks. Lee Nelson is in for Leonard Smith, who's out with a knee injury. Benny Perrin is playing hurt at free safety. 3rd and 3. Jeff Griffin is the nickelback for the Cardinals. Sims has time up the middle, and the pass is caught for a 1st down to the 46-yard line. Lionel Washington is upset, but it was Lionel Manuel who makes the 16-yard reception and a Giant 1st down.
Washington that time was covering very well on the play, but the ball was thrown perfectly. Look, he's got plenty of time to step and throw into the pocket, gets the ball right on the money, and Washington was right there in good shape, but the ball was thrown beautifully right on the money. Look at the pass protection. Look at Benson, number 60, doing a good job on the defensive end. Curtis Greer.
1st and 10. Up the middle goes Rob Carpenter. And Carpenter is about 2 yards shy of a 1st down. Of course, Carpenter has a elbow problem, but had his season's high 2 weeks ago against Kansas City. And E.J. Jr. said one thing about Carpenter, he'll get his 3 and 4 yards every down. A guy like Dickerson may break it, but Carpenter will get 3-4 yards every shot.
And he's doing the same thing all the time with the same great effort.
2nd down and 2 at the 46-yard line of the Cardinals. Joe Morris appears to have a 1st down for the Giants at the 42-yard line. Bill Purcells, who said this week it was like coaching a high school team with the attitude of the ball club.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult to explain to people what a great feeling it is to be involved in the playoffs at the end of the season. It's very exciting. The players don't need a lot of motivation. They're excited, and just like he said, they're like a high school team.
It's easy when it's under those circumstances. Less than 6.5 minutes to go in the 1st quarter. No score. 1st and 10 Giants on the Cardinal 42. Rob Carpenter is the lone back. Sims will throw. Sims has Zeke Moat, the tight end, who makes a terrific catch at the 30-yard line. Brought down by Charlie Baker, but a fine catch and a 1st down. Zeke Moat.
Sims really got rid of the ball just in time. He gets good pressure that time. Watch Galloway, 65, gets good pressure, gets in his face, but he steps up and throws the ball beautifully on the outside, and he makes the catch. There he is again. Look at Galloway, number 65. He really gives him a shot, coming right up the middle and giving Sims a good high shot right about the time he threw the ball.
So it's a 1st and 10 for the Giants on the Cardinal 30, and like St. Louis, they're moving the ball on offense. Rob Carpenter gets a couple, but gets inside the 30-yard line. Carpenter is having the second most productive year of his career. His best season was 3 years ago when he came over from the Houston Oilers. Charlie Baker made the stop there. Like the Cardinals last week, the Giants have had better rushing. They were primarily a team that traveled through the air early in the year, and they like the fact that they're running the ball. As we look at Jim Hannafin, says this may be the biggest game of his coaching career.
And a team that has better balance than the end of the season, into the playoffs, is usually the team that wins.
Second down and 9 after 29 for the Giants. Sims has to get rid of it in a hurry, and there's Zeke Moat, who has it inside the 10-yard line of the 5. Benny Perrin is there to make the stop, and Zeke Moat has made 2 fine catches. This one good for 24 yards. First and goal, Giants.
Watch E.J. Jr., 54. He's blitzing right up the middle. There's man-for-man coverage. Baker is coming from the outside, but he throws the ball downfield to Moat in good shape. He makes the catch between two defensive backs. And they pick up another first down. Play action fake. Look at right down the seam behind the linebacker. Benny Perrin finally makes the tackle, number 23.
Sims is 4 for 4 for 60 yards. First and goal at the 5 for the Giants. Play action. Sims drills it out of the zone. That is no catch. Tom Mulledy, the second tight end, was there, but he was too far there.
Mulledy really did a poor job that time. He has to know where the end zone is, where the end line is. He runs a crossing pattern. He's got plenty of room, but he doesn't know where he is. Watch him now. And he's too close to the end line and winds up catching the ball out of the end zone.
Second and goal in the 5. Because Mulledy has been used little this year. They haven't used 2 tight ends that much, the Giants. Sims overthrows his man, Lionel Manuel. It'll be third and goal in the 5, and so early in this ball game, a big down coming up. No score. Neil O'Donoghue missed a 40-yard field goal the first time the Cardinals had the ball.
Man-for-man coverage that time. Manuel trying to lick Washington on the play, and the ball is thrown over the top and falls incomplete.
Byron Williams comes in for Bobby Johnson at wide receiver. Third and goal. The ball right there at the 5.
We might look at something to the tight end here.
In motion is Manuel, the wide receiver. Sims looking, throwing, touchdown, Lionel Manuel. He went in motion and caught his 4th touchdown pass of the year, and the Giants are on the board leading 6-0.
That time he had a match with Benny Perrin, and I think that's a very difficult match for Perrin. Perrin trying to cover Manuel. Watch it on the screen to the right of your picture. Goes back into the pocket, plenty of time, throws the ball, and he throws it right in the end zone. Benny Perrin, number 23, covering on the play.
So for Phil Sims, who has had some good games against the Cardinals in the past, he had a 5-touchdown game against St. Louis earlier in his career. It's 6-0, and Ali Haji Sheikh is in. Jeff Rutledge will be the holder, and with 4:02 showing on the clock, the Giants looking to take a 7-0 lead. The kick is good, and the Giants lead at 7-0. Giants 9-5, the Cardinals 8-6. Both teams have had the ball, and both teams have looked crisp on offense, but the Giants scored.
Here we go again. Manuel goes in motion to the left. You see he gets man-for-man coverage on Perrin, and the ball's right on the money.
So Manuel with the touchdown, a rookie and one of the fine young receivers that the Giants have. There is Sims' touchdown pass, and the reaction of the Giant quarterback. They lead it 7-0. By the Giants, 11 plays, using up 5 minutes and 24 seconds. Half by Sims to Manuel, and the Giants lead 7-0. And Ali Haji Sheikh will be kicking off, and there you're looking at the rookie from Pacific, 7th-round draft pick Lionel Manuel. Stump Mitchell bobbles the ball in the end zone, and he'll set it down there for a touchback. So we're going to take a break right now. The Giants, whose 9 wins matches their playoff year of '81, looking for a 10th win.
for the...
Jim Hannafin told us, Hank, is that we got to pressure Phil Simms. If not, he'll pick the defense apart. They're going to have to do that.
I think the common feeling is, you know, most quarterbacks would like to throw against his own defense a lot better than they do man for man.
First and 10 for the Cardinals on the 20-yard line. Dick Stockton and Hank Stram in St. Louis. Play action pass, Lomax. Under some pressure, and the pressure never ceased, and the ball was almost intercepted there by Curtis McGriff. Byron Hunt came storming in on the play and very nearly sacked Neil Lomax, and Marshall also in on the play.
Watch Byron Hunt, 57, blitzing on the play, goes around the block of the tight end, LaFleur, and makes the play on the quarterback.
Terry Steve, by the way, has a twisted right knee, and he was taken to the Cardinals dressing room. Doug Dawson, second-round draft pick from Texas, number 66 now, is in his left guard. It'll be second and 10 at the 20-yard line. Danny Pittman, former Giant, number 85, is in as a third wide receiver for the Cardinals, and he's up to the top. Otis Anderson tries the middle. Anderson to the 24-yard line, a gain of 4. Harry Carson makes the tackle. Otis Anderson told us that, talk about Lawrence Taylor, Harry Carson is the man I worry about.
Watch the block here on Jerome Sally. Good job on the right side. Randy Clark, the offensive center, and Bostic both do a number on Jerome Sally.
3rd and 6 for the Cardinals. Trailing 7-0. 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the first quarter. Neil Lomax out of the shotgun. Kenny Hill is in as the nickel back for the Giants. Lomax has enough time up the middle, and the pass is caught at the 34-yard line by Roy Green. So Roy Green is the main target for Neil Lomax today. No surprise, Kennard and Hill make the tackle.
Watch Green come back for the ball, which is very, very important. That's why he was able to make the play. Got plenty of time, no rush. He comes back for the ball. Even though the ball is thrown high, he's still able to make the catch, and that was a key to the success of that play, the fact that he did come back for the ball.
Green has caught 3 passes so far. Marino, or I should say only Marino, has thrown for more yards this year than Neil Lomax, who has a chance to go over the 4,000 mark. Hands off to Otis Anderson. Anderson trying to pick his way, and a late flag is thrown as Anderson is stopped at the 39-yard line by the nose tackle Jerome Sally, along with Carson. And a penalty.
Anderson was funny yesterday talking to him about the game. I said, what about the weather? He said, well, you see all that white stuff on the sideline? He said, that's what I wish we'd have tomorrow, because anytime there's snow on the field, it's very difficult for those defensive linemen and linebackers to get a good beat on me.
Holding offense, number 89, first down.
Greg LaFleur, the tight end. Yeah, he thinks that's a big advantage to the runner. Lawrence Taylor says, I'm glad we don't have any snow. And Harry Carson said the same thing. So.
Oh, sure. They like to get a good firm foundation so they can really use those shoulder pads.
Following the holding penalty, it'll be first down and 21. Lomax stopped, and a flag goes down, and Anderson going at it with Byron Hunt. Didn't take long for the emotions of this game to have an effect. It'll be a penalty against the Cardinals. Jerome Sally made the hit. Sally went right in there and hugged Neil Lomax. Here's Chuck Heberling, the referee.
Holding, 67, offense. The penalty is refused. Second down.
Louis Sharp, the left tackle. Penalty refused. It'll be second down now.
It's a great illustration of the emotion that we talked about, and I think the important thing is emotion is important, a big part of the game, but it has to be controlled emotion. It can't be unharnessed.
It'll be second down. 28 back at the 17-yard line. Green in motion. Giant defense clamping down on Lomax. Here's Otis Anderson. Good call, and it was George Martin who got a hold of Anderson and wouldn't let him get much as he brings it out to the 22-yard line.
Lawrence Taylor now is on the left side. He's on the side of Marsh, which I mentioned earlier. He gets buried on the play. Look at the block by the left guard. Does a good job of coming out of there and taking care of Taylor on the play, number 56.
Time remaining in the first quarter. The Giants lead 7-0. A 5-yard pass from Phil Simms to Lionel Manuel. The Cardinals facing third down and 23, back on their 22-yard line. Lomax stepping up. And there's Danny Pittman wide open with midfield. Into Giant territory at the 28-yard line. That's good for 51 yards for the former Giant.
That's his own defense, and the key here is look at all the time he's got to throw the ball, and he steps up into the pocket. In his younger days, he probably would have taken off and run, but he waited long enough, hit the crossing pattern, Danny Pittman, and Danny Pittman said yesterday, so when I catch the ball, there's nothing fancy about what I do. I just head for the goal line, and there's a great illustration of it. Look at Taylor, gives him a bump, plays his zone. It's a crossing pattern in front of the defensive backs, behind the linebackers, open room, and a big play for the Cardinals.
Anderson fumbles the ball. Anderson fumbles, and the Giants recover. I don't know whether he was a prognosticator or what, but Lawrence Taylor kind of said that he thought that Otis Anderson would fumble in this game.
He said he'll fumble twice in a game, and Mitchell will fumble once. There it is.
Gary Reasons, number 55, gets to the ball and makes the recovery. So after the big play, the Cardinals cough it up, and the Giants have it 1st and 10 on the 30. Otis Anderson has to be a bit discouraged right now, coming off his best game of the year against New England, ending that threat with a fumble. But the Giants have it 1st and 10 on their own 30-yard line with 35 seconds to go in the first quarter. Joe Morris goes in motion, and here's Rob Carpenter. Hit first by Charlie Baker and brings it out to the 34-yard line. Turnovers have spelled doom for the Cardinals in the month of November. Look, they turned it over 19 times. Of course, they turned it over 6 in the loss to the Giants. When they don't turn the ball over, as they did in October, and so far this month, before this game, they haven't lost. So the Cardinals live and die by the turnover.
Here we see Jim Hannafin talking to Anderson on the sideline, trying probably to console him about the fumble. That's one thing that you can't do. You can't dwell on what's already happened. You try to comfort him as much as you possibly can to make sure that he doesn't fumble again because of the fumble he made earlier in the game.
And I don't think the Cardinals have to really worry about it.
There are 7 seconds left in the first quarter, and we will keep the time on the field.
The clock is stuck at 32 seconds, which is what it was before the last play was run off, so they're going to keep the time down on the field. 7 seconds remain in the first quarter. There is Jim Burt, the Giant nose tackle, who has a sprained arch, and he said, well, if they're not going to let me come on the team plane, I'm going to take my own plane. But he didn't have to do it. He came with the club and could very well see action. And that's the end of the first quarter here in St. Louis. On a Phil Simms touchdown pass, the Giants lead the St. Louis Cardinals 7-0.
AT&T computers from AT&T Information Systems, when you've got to be right. Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store. And by Wendy's. At Wendy's, we serve only 100% pure boneless breast of chicken.
Here at Busch Stadium, St. Louis, we start the second quarter. The Giants have 2nd and 6 on their 34-yard line. Joe Morris, with Rob Carpenter blocking, is close to a first down near the 40-yard line. Lee Nelson, the strong safety, makes the tackle on the play. Joe Morris coming off his career high, 83 yards against the Jets last week.
2-yard first down.
And Mo, at that time, the tight end, did a good job of blocking the linebacker, Thomas Howard, number 59, on the play.
Giants expected Morris would give him that outside explosive threat early in the year. He hadn't, but he seems to be giving him that right now. And, of course, that's taking a lot of pressure off that man, Phil Simms. Simms, 5 for 7, 65 yards, and the only score of the ball game. 1st and 10 at the 40 on Morris's run. Here's Rob Carpenter. He's hit immediately by E.J. Jr. Floyd Peters, the defensive coach, said he's become a lethal guy since moving to middle linebacker.
Here he comes, number 54. Watch him. See, he sees the gap and gets through there before the guard is able to make a block on him, and makes a beautiful tackle right in the hole.
2nd down and 9. Esther James, what E.J. stands for, and they called him that when he was a kid. Maybe that's why he got tough to be a middle linebacker.
Nobody calls him that now, though.
Not even with a smile. 2nd down and 9 at the 41. Lionel Manuel is in motion. Phil Simms going to Manuel, overthrows him. Lee Nelson was closest to him. Curtis Greer exerted some pressure on Phil Simms from defensive end.
They had the right matchup that time. They were trying to work on Lee Nelson, who is a very fine football player, extremely good force guy, a good tackle, doesn't cover as well. They had the match they wanted, but couldn't get the ball to him in good receiving position.
Curtis Greer, of course, has had 28 sacks in his last 30 games. He's having an excellent year. He's the man they worry about on the St. Louis defensive line. 3rd down and 9 at the 41. Pressure on Simms. Down he goes. Curtis Greer back at the 32-yard line, and the first sack of the ball game by the Cardinals.
Curtis Greer comes into the game with 12 sacks. Number 75, watch him come in there on the outside and make the tackle, and gets a sack on Phil Simms.
2nd in the NFC behind Richard Dent with those 12, and so on 4th down, Dave Jennings will punt for the Giants, and Stump Mitchell is back for the Cardinals. Jennings always a very reliable and solid kicker. But the Cardinals have a threat in Mitchell, who's hit before the ball gets to him, and the flag goes down. Elvis Patterson made the hit on Stump Mitchell, and the Giants will pay for it. The crowd doesn't appreciate it. That's a tough blow to the receiver under those circumstances.
Well, you can't interfere with the opportunity to make a fair catch. He had no chance whatsoever to make the play. He got hit way before the ball came down. Patterson, number 34, was not aware of where the ball was at all and really gave him a shot.
Here's Chuck Heberling. And they're going to bring the ball out to the 46-yard line. That's a costly penalty on Patterson.
10-yard penalty. Watch him. He's come up to make the catch, and the ball's not down yet, not even close, and Patterson hits him prematurely. There's a penalty on the play, and now St. Louis had great field position.
Patterson blocked a field goal last week. We asked Jim Hannafin when he thought the Cardinals really came of age. He said, not this year so much. Last year when they went out to L.A. and beat the Raiders late in the season. Then they started to believe in themselves. 1st and 10 for the Cardinals on the 46-yard line following the penalty. Good field position for St. Louis, trailing 7-0 to the Giants. Neil Lomax to Roy Green, out of bounds. At the 45 of the Giants, short of a first down by about a yard.
That's what they have to be satisfied to do, because the Giants are going to give him a lot of room out in front. Look at Haynes. Look at all the room he's got in front.
Giants 45.
Throws the ball on a square out pattern. He picks up about 9 yards on the play. Very easy.
See, the Cardinals are starting from their best field position. They penetrated the first time they had the ball, but missed the field goal from 40 yards out. It's 2nd and 1 for Neil Lomax at the Giant 45. Otis Anderson will have the first down. Tackle made by Lawrence Taylor.
Again, you know, talking to Doug Marsh yesterday, he said, well, he said, I've got to stay in his face. If I can stay in his face, I can block him. He won't be a problem. But so far, why, he's made 2 tackles with Marsh, number 80, trying to block him high and stay in his face, but he's come to the inside on both occasions and made the play.
Taylor was not a blitzer so much in the first meeting between the clubs in Giant Stadium. He's going to come. 1st and 10 at the 43, and Marsh, the tight end, starts back. Lomax Flips it out. Screen pass to Otis Anderson. And O.J. Anderson to the 35-yard line. Harry Carson and Gary Reasons make the tackle.
Watch Lomax. Look how long he holds the ball. He's looking downfield, doing a good job of acting, and then he dumps the ball off. He feels the pressure of the linebacker blitzing, dumps the ball off in front, and the center, Randy Clark missed a block downfield. Taylor is blitzing on the play, and that's the area they run to with the screen pass. That's what you'd like to do, throw the screen in the area of the blitzing linebacker.
Second down and 2 at the 35. Anderson has now caught 54 passes, and he led the team with that many last year. Carries it here, tries to cut inside, and doesn't get much, though he may have the first down, and apparently he does at the 32. Good penetration by Gary Reasons on the play.
He said counter play again. Watch Marsh going to the inside. And there you see Bostic getting a piece of Taylor, but doesn't stay with him long enough. He falls off and makes the tackle.
Hank, talking about Taylor and all of those linebackers like Hedden and Reasons and Carson, especially the outside guys, Bill Purcells tells us he likes a certain kind of physique for his linebacker.
Well, I think most coaches do. They want them big and strong and guys who can run. They all have good range. That's what you like, especially with teams playing zone defenses. You want tall linebackers so that people have to throw over the top.
First and 10 at the 32. Stump Mitchell looking as if to throw, and he does. To a wide open Earl Farrell, the fullback. And Farrell has a first down. A 20-yard pickup and our first trick play of the ball game. And the Cardinals have first and 10 at the 13-yard line. Taylor and Currier make the tackle on Farrell.
Stump Mitchell on the pitch play does a good job of acting like he's going to run the ball, and then they sees Farrell open in the flat behind the linebacker in front of the defensive back. Gets it to him in good shape, and they get a first down.
They mark it at the 12, and with 9:58 remaining in the second quarter, the Giants lead 7-0, and the Cardinals threat for Stump Mitchell. He can do it, catch, he can run, and you can see the pass there. Mitchell in the backfield now, pressure on Lomax, and Lomax has Green all alone inside the 5. Harry Carson making the tackle, and they're getting a lot done, Hank, going short to Roy Green, the deep threat.
Watch Green now coming off the ball. He does a good thing. Fakes outside, then comes back inside. And he's satisfied to stay there instead of trying to get up. If you try to get up, you might get hit in the process. Carson hit him pretty well, but in the process of getting up, sometimes you lose the ball and you cough it up, and they have possession on the 5. So it's a good play on the part of Green,
who has 5 catches for 54 yards. Cardinals are almost a sure thing when they're inside that area. Second down and 2 at the 4. Taylor was coming in on the play. Lomax overthrows Tilley. Bill Currier defending. No flag is thrown, and the crowd, of course, was yelling for the yellow flag, and none was forthcoming. It'll be third down and 2.
It was amazing. Of course, it's easy to see up here, tough on this field. Marsh broke open on a crossing pattern to the left side of the end zone. He looked like he ran right out of the bleachers. He was so wide open. Watch him come across the field. Look at Marsh. He went right through the traffic. Nobody around him whatsoever, but he doesn't see him.
Third down and 2. And Neil Lomax wants the vehement St. Louis crowd to just quiet down a bit.
They might run a pick play on the right side. They got man for man, and Tilley might be the guy they're going to throw to here. Here he is.
Lomax
Tilley
throwing. It's caught to Hank Stram's man. Pat Tilley, touchdown. Fifth touchdown catch of the year for Pat Tilley, and Coach Stram, just the way you put it on the blackboard.
Well, you love that man-for-man coverage. That's what they got. Plus the fact they got number 29 covering him on the play. He's not going to do a good job of doing that on a man-for-man situation. Pat Tilley making the touchdown reception.
Perrin will hold for O'Donoghue. And the Cardinals back in it. Chance to tie the ball game. Movement in the line. Penalty markers fly. The kick is good. 7-7, but a penalty marker is down. You we saw the movement in the center of the line. And we'll sort this one out. The penalty is against the Giants and will be marked off on the kickoff. Seven the score.
Here we see the end zone replay. There you see Tilley breaking out into the flat, wide open on the play. Watch, they got two man-on-man, kind of a pick play. Courier gets picked off a little bit on the inside with the outside receiver coming inside. But Tilley is wide open on the play.
And so Neil Lomax looking all the way to Pat Tilley, no question where he wanted to go. A big score for the Cardinals. 7-7. He's led the Cardinals in receiving 4 years. He's not the #1 target anymore, but he's a reliable receiver, Pat Tilley, and the game is tied 7-7. Neil O'Donohue will be kicking off from the 40 following the 5-yard penalty for encroachment on the Giants on the extra point. And there is Butch Woolfolk, who's back at the goal line. 8 minutes and 45 seconds remain in the second quarter. Woolfolk brings it out from the goal line and is tackled at the 15-yard line by Perry Harrington. And timeout on the field. The Giants will go to work 1st and 10 when we come back. Dick Stockton and Hank Stram back at Busch Stadium. 1st and 10, Giants on their 16-yard line. Zeke Moat moves to the right side. He caught 2 big passes in the Giants scoring drive earlier. Morris moving way out to the right. Rolling out is Sims. Looking for someone. He's got Zeke Moat. And Moat is knocked out of bounds at the 33-yard line by Benny Perrin. Moat is off to a good start in this ballgame. Let's check some scores of other games now. Pittsburgh leading Cleveland 10-3. The Steelers lead by 1 with 2 to go over Cincinnati in the NFC Central race, which is still up in the air. That's in the second quarter. No score between the Bengals and the Saints down in the Superdome. And Seattle, Kansas City are 7-7 in the second quarter.
That's a surprise.
1st and 10 at the 32. That was a 17-yard pass to Zeke Moat. Here's Joe Morris up the middle, and he almost broke one. He got tripped up just beyond the line of scrimmage, and Morris is stopped at the 39. David Galloway makes the tackle. Tackle by Galloway.
Number 54, he runs right by E.J. Jr. on the play, gets a block. Godfrey does a good job of blocking Jr., and that's why he's able to run right by him and pick up a nice gain on the play. You know, the important thing about a little back was 5'7". Very hard to find him back there. You can't see him behind those big lines.
Sometimes you see his number from the back.
All you see is the top of his helmet.
2nd down and 3. Galloway made a real saving play. Pitch to Rob Carpenter off the left side. 1st down to the 46-yard line. Tackle made by Wayne Smith and Curtis Greer.
That was kind of an option play without an option. The quarterback, no way he's going to keep the ball himself. He tossed it back there in good shape, and they made a nice gain.
Well, listen, you talk about surprises. Colts lead the Miami Dolphins 10-7. Raul Allegre, a 52-yard field goal, the difference in that game. New England over Philadelphia 10-7 in the second quarter. Patriots playoff hopes are dim. That was a tough loss to the Cardinals last week. 1st and 10 at the 46. Stepping up is Sims, going deep for Manuel, but overthrows him by a lot. Lionel Washington is claiming that Manuel interfered with him. It'll go incomplete, and it'll be 2nd down and 10. Other scores, Tampa Bay leading the Atlanta Falcons 10-0. A lot of speculation that maybe the Atlanta Falcons would be interested in Doug Flutie as a quarterback. Steve Bartkowski up in the air, health problems, who knows, and Eddie LeBaron certainly likes him. Green Bay, Chicago, no score, second quarter.
Eddie LeBaron would certainly like him because he's only 5'7".
They can talk to each other on even terms.
Well, that's right. He doesn't have to look up at him. 2nd
and 10 at the 46. Draw play, and tripping up was Joe Morris. I don't know if someone tripped him or he stumbled on his own. I think he stumbled.
I think he stumbled over Billy Ard. The left guard was pulling on the play. I couldn't tell for sure, but it looked like that might have happened on the play. Watch the left guard. Look at Billy Ard, number 67. Watch. No, he didn't. No, he just slipped. He tried to cut on the left foot, on his inside foot, and slipped in the process.
3rd down and 10. Bill Sims, broken many club records. Byron Williams is in as a 3rd wide receiver.
They've got to get the ball in the middle someplace to where they're playing defensively. Something inside would be appropriate. Oop.
Ball is batted in the air and intercepted. This is Thomas Howard, and he's down in midfield. Last week, Thomas Howard picked up a fumble and ran 29 yards for a touchdown against the New England Patriots, and here he picks up an interception. Tipping the ball was Elo Grooms, who used to play for you in New Orleans.
Lois Grooms, number 78, coming off the ball. He gets the deflection. Watching him right up the middle here. Here he comes. Jumps up in the air, gets a piece of the ball, and then Howard is very alert, comes up with the interception, and now the St. Louis Cardinals have possession, 1st and 10. Now we get a ground level view of it. Watch again. Look at 78 Grooms getting the penetration, knocks it down. Howard, 59 alert, comes up with the interception and good field position.
They picked him up from Kansas City before the year started, and are they glad they did? That was the 15th interception thrown by Sims, and it took a couple of people to make it happen. But the Cardinals are in Giant territory at the 49.
They ought to throw in front of those defensive backs on 1st and 10 right away. Take advantage of it.
Lomax looking one way and has to dump it off to Greg LaFleur, the 2nd tight end, and LaFleur picks up good yardage to the 44-yard line of the Giants. Mark Haynes makes the tackle.
Lomax that time was looking to throw, I think, and they wound up with double coverage, double covering the outside receiver. He read the coverage very, very well, showed a lot of patience, hung in the pocket, protection was good, and just dumped the ball off, and they pick up 5 yards, an easy way to get 5.
The last time the Cardinals had the ball on their own 46, they scored a touchdown, Lomax to Tilley, and now Jim Hanifin's team, following the interception by Howard, have a 2nd and 5 at the New York 44-yard line with 5:45 to go in the 1st half. They send Farrell wide out, the fullback to the right, and Otis Anderson trying to cut and find some room, can't find anything, and he's stopped for no gain. Leonard Marshall and Byron Hunt were right there.
One thing is very obvious. You know, the last time the Giants played St. Louis, they're so concerned about the deep threat, especially of Green, that they were on defense 70 times in the last game, and 63 times they played the same coverage, a zone kind of coverage. They don't want to take a chance of getting caught up with man for man or blitzing and then getting a big play. They're just going to make them take the bus, not the jet, and that's where they're going to play the game.
And if Lomax is patient, he can get the job done.
That's right. He has to be patient and pick his spots.
So Lomax in the shotgun, 10 of 13 so far for 131 yards, as you see. 3rd down and 5 at the 44. Lomax stepping up, firing. It's caught by Stuck Mitchell, and there he goes. All the way, touchdown. Mitchell has scored 9 touchdowns as a runner this year. This was a spectacular 44-yard play. O'Donohue will try the conversion to give the Cardinals a 14-7 lead with Perrin holding.
See, they don't expect to make that kind of a play against their zone defense, but they did, and that's a great advantage of getting the ball to a guy who can run as well as Mitchell. They were in a soft defense and a zone defense, but they ran a crossing pattern with Mitchell. There's a lot of room in the middle. He caught the ball, and the rest is history. He ran all the way for the touchdown.
Cardinals are called for illegal procedure. It is 13-7, and now they're going to have to move it back.
Ball start, offense, the center simulated the start of the play.
Center simulated the play beginning, and of course it's an illegal procedure call, and so O'Donohue will be kicking from what amounts to a 25-yard kick with Benny Perrin still holding. The kick is good, and it's 14-7. The Cardinals, who are trailing 7-0, now have a touchdown lead.
Now watch what happens. See that they get a pretty good rush, but he throws the ball, steps up into the pocket, throws the ball in a crossing pattern to Mitchell. Andy Hedden, number 54, in hot pursuit. They're chasing him, cuts back to the inside. Courier misses the tackle. As somebody behind, he can't see who it was, but he goes all the way for the touchdown. Now, that's the thing that doesn't happen very often against his own defense, but it did in this situation.
Well, Mitchell threw a pass to Farrell, which set up the first touchdown, and he was on the receiving end of this spectacular play. The Cardinals lead. We'll be back. Bill Purcells told us yesterday he thinks there's more pressure on the Cardinals in this game because they got to win. The Giants don't have to win to make the playoffs, and so far St. Louis has responded.
You have to like the way both teams are playing, though. They're both letting it all hang out. They're playing good, tough, aggressive football this afternoon.
O'Donoghue kicking off to Woolfolk at the 9-yard line, and Busch trying to get ahead of steam, takes it out to the 20-yard line and fumble on the play. They might have blown it dead, and I think that was the case. They did blow it dead at the 20-yard line. Well, next week on CBS Sports, you'll see terrific matchup in college basketball, certainly the best of this young season. Georgetown, and they demolished UNLV yesterday at the Capitol Center against number 2 ranked DePaul, and that could be a showdown of the NCAA's top teams on the road to Lexington, Kentucky. Some of you will see Tulsa against Arkansas. That'll be live at 3:45 Eastern. College basketball, NCAA variety on CBS next Saturday. See what Phil Simms does, 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line with 4:46 to go in the first half. Giants are trailing. Simms will go to the air on 1st down, and Simms going to Zeke Moat out of bounds at the 27-yard line. Lee Nelson defending. And Hank, there's no question at this point that neither of these clubs are playing not to lose. They're going after it.
Yeah, they really are. That's what you like to see in this kind of a game. They're not playing with a fear of losing it. They're on the attack, trying to make something happen, trying to win the game, and that's what you like.
Cardinals taking advantage of the turnover, Thomas Howard's interception, and the deflection by Elo Grooms and Jim Hannafin. His club has made steady progress for the last several years. They need both victories here and next week against the Redskins. 2nd down and 3. Joe Morris close to a 1st down, chugging along at the 30-yard line. E.J. Jr. and Lee Nelson make the tackle on Joe Morris.
The Cardinals are playing a lot of man-for-man defense. They feel that they can get enough pressure on Simms. I think they feel that Simms likes to throw against the zone. They're going to give him a lot of man-for-man to make him throw the ball precisely right and try to get as much pressure on him as they possibly can.
It's 3rd and 1, and the Giants bring in George Martin at defensive end, and he is a tackle eligible as he lines up on this offense, so he could be eligible for a pass. Number 75, George Martin. There he is. 3rd and 1. And Rob Carpenter has the 1st down at the 31-yard line. This is an exciting first game of a big CBS doubleheader, all involving the NFC East race, which is the only hottest race in the league. Coming up next, the Washington Redskins and the Dallas Cowboys. What do you think of that game, Hank?
Well, I think Tom Landry early in the season, even though the Redskins have lost 2 games, he said the team to beat in the Eastern Division, the Washington Redskins, and he was right.
1st and 10 at the 32-yard line. Simms fires. Lee Nelson making a fine play on Zeke Moat, the tight end. You're right, Lee Nelson, who's really a linebacker playing safety, stayed with the tight end pretty closely on that play.
He threw that ball just a little bit high. Moat was coming across the middle. The ball was thrown just a little bit high. Had he thrown it out in front a little bit more, and about number high, that would have been a reception. Nelson had him faded pretty well.
2nd down and 10 for the Giants. 3 minutes and 18 seconds remaining in the first half. 14-7, the Cardinals lead. Here's Joe Morris. And Morris runs into E.J. Jr. at the 37-yard line. David Galloway was also there to make the stop. It'll be 3rd down and about 4 for the Giants with 3 minutes to go in the half.
I tell you, the Giants, both teams are doing a good job of picking on the right people. They want to get Moad on Nelson as much as they possibly can. They've thrown a couple of bad balls to him, but overall, why, it's a good matchup.
Tony Galbraith, who had a terrific game last week. He's been a third down specialist, but he did it on first and second down as well on third down and 5. On the 37, number 30, and they're incomplete pass. They were going for Bobby Johnson. Incomplete, and it's fourth down, and the Cardinal defense holds.
Watch the blitz coming, 54, E.J. Jr. He anticipated a snap pretty well that time. He didn't get through there, but he knew he was coming, and I think it created a problem for Phil Simms, and he threw the ball poorly, and before he really wanted to get rid of the football.
Dave Jennings, he has had 3 kicks blocked this year, and there's Stump Mitchell, who already is a hero of this ball game. Jennings punting from the 22-yard line. Mitchell on the big hop back at the 20. And Pete Shaw prevented Mitchell from gaining more yardage as Mitchell is brought down shy of the 30. Well, coming up at halftime, the NFL Today scores and highlights with Brennan Irv. Legends of the game, Sonny Jurgensen of the Washington Redskins. Jurgensen is now a radio broadcaster. There's a penalty flag down here, and they're going to mark it off against St. Louis, apparently. Jurgensen, one of the prolific passers in NFL history.
You talk about a guy who could pick your defense apart and nickel and dime you to death. He was one. He was the greatest.
Illegal block, number 40, on the return, first down.
It was Randy Love of the Cardinals, and that's going to set St. Louis back. They've had good field position the last 2 times they had the ball, starting from their own 46 and then the Giant 49, and scored both times. But now they're back at their 10-yard line, which is their worst starting point of the ball game. 2:24 remaining in the first half. Bill Purcells,
St. Louis first and 10 from their own 10-yard line.
coached the team last year that was 3-12-1, now find themselves 9-5. Look at the first down yardage in this game.
And that's what it's all about. St. Louis 7 yards a shot on first and 10. The New York Giants 4.5. Both are very, very good. But the St. Louis Cardinals are especially good.
4-5 is good, but 7 is better.
So the penalty will be from the dead ball spot.
They move the ball. It was a dead ball foul, and they place it just shy of the 20-yard line. 15.
You know, the other thing, talking about the offense, Lomax has thrown the ball 8 times on first and 10, completed 7.
Nothing conservative about what Neil Lomax has done on offense today.
That's what you like to see in this kind of a game.
Otis Anderson is the running back. On the pitch, Anderson. And he runs into Jim Burt, who is in the lineup now, so it didn't take all that long for number 64 to come back into his nose tackle position. Jim Burt, who despite a sprained arch is playing today and is having a terrific year.
Yeah, he might be in there, and the coaches don't even know it. You know, he's that kind of a player. He's going to get in the game somehow, some way. It's his right arch that's bothering him, but he's determined to play, and he's out there now, number 64.
Well, the clock has run down to 2 minutes, and so we'll have our 2-minute warning right now. Neil Lomax will go to the sideline and talk to Jim Hannafin. Bill Purcells doesn't look too pleased. His team trails 14-7. Dick Stockton and Hank Graham in St. Louis. We've had our 2-minute warning. Hank, do you think the Giants may call a timeout if they stop the Cardinals on a run after this down to try to get their hands on the ball again?
I would think so. There's no use saving them. You know, you don't get double amount in the second half for not using them in the first half.
Ball on the 17-yard line. And here's Otis Anderson, and Anderson runs right into Gary Reasons. Good penetration for Reasons. Back at the 15-yard line, and the Giants will use one of their 3 timeouts. And we will take a break as well. 1:55 showing on the clock. Lomax, again, will go to the sideline to talk to Jim Hannafin. Giants, with 2 victories, become division champs, but this one is up first. Well, if the Cardinals don't win, they don't have to worry about any more of the playoff figuring. The Giants can get into the playoffs even if they lose this game. But they're thinking of this game in which they trail 14-7. It is 3rd down and 10 at the 15-yard line. George Martin and Casey Merrill are in for pass rushing purposes. Lomax hands off inside to Otis Anderson, and Anderson has a first down at the 25-yard line, and that was some call by Neil Lomax, and the Cardinals maintain possession. Casey Merrill on the tackle.
There again, that was a good call because they ran a trap play that time. They run a trap. And Anderson really doesn't go into the trapping area. He hits into the area of the pulling guard, the left guard, Dawson. Watch it. Watch the left guard pull on the play. And Anderson cuts behind the guard's pull. It's not a sucker play, but he just finds the opening, knows where he has to go for the first down and gets the necessary yardage. Good running on the part of O.J. Anderson.
And, of course, the Giants now with the picture different. They say maybe the Cardinals feel that maybe we can get some points out of it. They call a timeout, so each team has 2 timeouts remaining. 1:41 showing on the clock. Coming up next, it'll be the Washington Redskins against the Dallas Cowboys, and this game has an effect on that game, of course. If the Giants win, the survivor of the Redskins-Cowboys matchup coming up next will automatically get into the playoffs, at least as a wild card. But if the Cardinals win this game, there's no assurance that the winner of the Redskins-Cowboys game to follow will get into the playoffs. Of course, one more week to go in the regular season. 1:41 on the clock in the half. Timeouts are even 2-2. Our score 14-7 in favor of St. Louis.
And both teams have 2 timeouts left.
Neil Lomax has thrown 2 touchdown passes. Pat Tilley in a 44-yard play to stump Mitchell. Sims got the Giants on the scoreboard first with a TD pass to Lionel Manuel. Danny Pittman at 1st and 10 is in there, number 85. 3 wide receivers for St. Louis. Lomax finds his tight end Doug Marsh. Bill Courier brings it down shy of the 30-yard line. Clock continues to run, 1.5 minutes to go as Lomax sets the play.
And Marsh does not wear gloves. Talked to him about that yesterday. He said, no, I don't like to wear gloves. He said, unless it's extremely cold, but I feel I have more feel for the ball without the gloves.
Pitches to Otis Anderson, and Anderson gets a second effort, first down to the 38-yard line, tackled by Lawrence Taylor. So Otis Anderson, who fumbled early in the ball game, did not hurt the Cardinals. The Giants didn't capitalize, is getting his motor running right now, and a timeout called by the Cardinals. And there is Phil Simms over at the Giants sideline, hoping he gets another chance to unlimber that right arm before the first half is history. 1:13 remaining. The Cardinals are down to their last timeout. The Giants have 2. 14-7 the score. It will be 1st and 10 for St. Louis on their 37-yard line.
We might see green here and something over the middle on some kind of delay pattern if they throw the ball.
They're going to throw the ball. Lomax can't find anything downfield. Dumps it off to Otis Anderson. And Anderson with some good moves brings it out to the 45-yard line. Minute to go, and they get it out to the 45.
Well, they had Green open again. He came off of him a little bit too soon, but what he did was fine. I guess he felt some pressure, and he wanted to make sure he moved the ball up the field.
Shy of a first down by 2, and they'll have the first down to Danny Pittman out of bounds, and it will also stop the clock shy of midfield. So Danny Pittman, who caught a pass and 51-yard play earlier prior to a turnover, catches that first down play, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Cardinals on their own 48-yard line. There's Neil O'Donohue, who, by the way, has kicked 9 field goals from 40 yards and beyond, and his longest has been from 52 yards this year. So he has the ability to kick them long.
And I think he's a better kicker from long range than he is from in close. He has better concentration and attacks the ball better.
1st and 10, Cardinals at their own 48, 47 seconds to go. Lomax dumps it off. And here's Otis Anderson, who gets into Giant territory at the 47. Lawrence Taylor makes the tackle. 35 seconds to go. Cardinals are not going to use that last time out here. Lomax drills it out of bounds. Tilley was there, but it stops the clock. 28 seconds remain in the first half. And with one timeout, what are the options for St. Louis now to get closer into field goal position?
Well, they, the Giants should be thinking in terms of double covering the outside receiver so they can throw a sideline pattern to stop the clock. They should make them throw the ball inside so they would have to stop the clock and use the timeout. That's what their strategy should be. And, of course, with one timeout left, I think knowing they're going to get double coverage on the outside, they should try to throw the ball 18, 20 yards down the middle to get in field goal position.
3rd down and 6. 28 seconds remain in the half. Pressure put on Lomax. And Willard Harrell unable to hold on to it. 23 seconds remain. The clock stops. It's 4th down. And Carl Birdsong will have to come in.
Watch Tilley. Number 83. But, of course, the defensive back comes off of him when the ball is thrown, I think. Hurry Williams watching the ball, playing his own defense.
Birdsong is in to punt for the first time in the ball game. He is averaging a little over 39 yards, about 3 yards less than his career average. Lionel Manuel is deep at the 10 with 23 seconds to go. Now, the Giants have 2 timeouts. Manuel may just try to go to the sideline. He calls for the fair catch. Barely holds on to it, but he does, and that's what counts at the 14-yard line. So that's where Phil Simms will take over. That's the time remaining, and the Giants have 2 timeouts, trailing the Cards 14-7. Don't forget, at halftime, the NFL Today, Brenton Irv scores and highlights of this 15th week of the regular season. Legends of the game, former Redskins quarterback Sonny Jurgensen.
First and 10 from their own 15.
Took the 7-0 lead when Simms threw a touchdown pass to Lionel Manuel. Zeke Mowatt was his main target on that drive, including a 24-yard pass. Anderson fumbled, ending a Cardinal opportunity, but Lomax has thrown 2 scores in this period, and they're going to use the clock and run it out.
Yeah, the percentages of doing anything with 16 seconds are not good. You can't do anything. You might as well play in the football and get in at halftime. Really, the difference in the game so far, they're 1 play from being back in the game.
Well, this is a must game for the Cardinals. Not so much a must game for the Giants, but they can make life easy with a victory. It's 14-7 St. Louis at halftime.
German road car from Volkswagen. Stroh's and Stroh Light, fire brewed for smoother taste. And by AT&T, the more you hear, the better we sound.
Irv, it is a battle of who can keep a healthy quarterback on the field in Chicago right now. The Packers are down to their 3rd-string quarterback. Lynn Dickey did not start the game because of recurring headaches. They've had to go to Rich Campbell as Randy Wright has been injured. And here you see Rusty Lish. He's forced to start for the Bears. That was turnover number 1 of 3 that the Bears have had for Mike Ditka. Watch Jerry Ellis take the handoff. He'll be cut from behind here by Richard Dent. Ellis will break loose, and Dan Hampton. There was a controversy in Chicago over whether or not he was going to play. Ditka didn't think so, but the defensive assistant said he'd be there, and Big Dan is indeed there. Lish, though, made a poor handoff to Matt Suey here, who fumbled the ball. That was the most important scoring attempt of the first half so far. So Forrest Gregg now, and the Packers are all even with the Bears. They are scoreless in the 2nd quarter. 2 shocking scores. Really, it's hard to believe. The Colts over the Dolphins 17-7, and of course, Don Shula went into this game feeling that he might even have to run the score up to get the home field advantage. Well, now he's got to struggle for his life, but take a look at the next one. Chuck Knox and the Seattle Seahawks can't take advantage of that lapse by the Dolphins. They're being blown out by the Chiefs 24-7. Obviously now the Chiefs are becoming a healthier football team down the stretch. Atlanta and Tampa Bay, it is 13-6. The Buccaneers over the Falcons in that one. And New Orleans and Cincinnati. With time running out in the first half, Dave Wilson threw the ball into the end zone, up for grabs, if you will. Hobie Brenner caught it, and 7-3, the Saints lead the Bengals. The Bengals have to win that one, too, because look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers lead the Cleveland Browns 17-6. If the Steelers win this and the Bengals lose, then, of course, the Steelers wrap up the AFC Central. At the half, Philadelphia and New England, the Eagles lead at 17-10. I think Marion Campbell has done a superb job coaching the Eagles this year. And, of course, the game you're watching, we want to bring Irv in here. It is 14-7. Cardinals over the Giants. And What about that passing attack Neil Lomax is using?
Well, you know, the Cardinal coaches told me they wanted to try to take what the Giant defense would give them, of course, and they're shortening up their passing attack, not going deep as people thought they would go to Lomax and Green on the outside, rather than instead concentrating on dumping the ball off of their backs.
Well, as we can see, Lionel Manuel has become a big weapon for Phil Simms in this game, Irv.
Boy, I tell you, Manuel, of course, has good speed, but this time he simply uses good body position to make a short pass here, a catch for a touchdown.
Now, this is Neil Lomax going to Pat Tilley in this sequence.
A pick pattern inside the 5-yard line. You didn't see Green come inside, picking off the defensive back. Tilley makes the catch for the score.
Key turnover right here. Grooms tips the ball, and it is intercepted by Thomas Howard.
This is the kind of thing the Cardinals live by now. They're a big play defense, taking the ball away, setting up a scoring opportunity right here.
And not bad on offense either. Hitting Stump Mitchell, his 11th touchdown of the season. Obviously, Green had taken him deep on the outside, room to come in underneath. Hey, how about Jerry Cooney? I know it was after midnight here in New York time. Jerry Cooney, his most impressive fight yet as he attempts the comeback. In the second round last night in Phoenix, Arizona, here he is stopping George Chaplin. Now, Chaplin had gone the distance against Harry Coetzee, Michael Dokes, and Greg Page, but he couldn't last even 2 rounds against Jerry Cooney. He took him out at 2 minutes and 50 seconds of the second round, and afterwards, Jerry had this reaction.
He kind of surprised me with his short reach. I didn't think he was going to jab so much, and I had to take a little while to catch his range. And when I started to see him slow down a little, I hit him with an uppercut on the button to see him slow down. So I started a little slow, trying to catch a hold of him, and then I just figured, let me open up for a little while.
Did he hurt you?
No, not at all.
Now, one more fight for Cooney, and then he wants to take on Page. An update in Wrigley Field, I should say Soldier Field. The Packers have just scored a touchdown. Campbell has just thrown this touchdown pass, dumps it off to Eddie West. The Packers are attempting to set up and try for the extra point, and we will continue here in the NFL Today after these messages from your local stations. Reminder still ahead of us this afternoon on CBS, the doubleheader showdown down in Dallas. It's the Washington Redskins and the Dallas Cowboys. Joe Theismann takes on Danny White. And you know, when you think of the great NFL quarterbacks from the 1960s, you automatically think of those who played for championship teams. Johnny Unitas of the Colts, Bart Starr in Green Bay, and of course, Joe Namath of the Miracle Jets. They are perhaps the first names that come to mind. But in the opinion of many football folks, the greatest of them all from that era was a quarterback who really never made it to a championship game as a starter. And that man, Sonny Jurgensen, is the subject today of Herb Cross's profile in our Legends of the Game series.
Monk to the near side, Brown to the far. Riggins the lone back on 2nd down and 9. Straight drop by Theismann. Sets, fires it up over the middle. Got the tight end, Rick Walker, at the 20. Fights his way across the 20 to the 19.
Sam, it wasn't anyone in 5 yards of Joe Theismann that time as he dropped back. If they don't rush the passer, he's going to have a field day.
Well, there's 3 against 5, you know.
When it comes to analyzing pro football, the man with the cigar knows what he's talking about. Because for more than a decade, he was the quarterback of the Washington Redskins. A man as famous for his pot belly as he was for his forward passing. And yet a man Vince Lombardi called the greatest quarterback he ever coached. His name is Christian Adolph Jurgensen, but his friends call him Sonny.
In 1964, after 7 years in Philadelphia, Sonny Jurgensen arrived in Washington with an arm described as the best in the game. He led the league in passing yardage a record 5 times, and only Fran Tarkenton and John Unitas threw more career touchdown passes. But for all his statistical accomplishments, he never played in a championship game.
We played exciting football, but again, we were used to be beaten 42-37. I can recall games throwing, 4 or 5 touchdown passes over 400 yards and losing the game, and which was a big disappointment.
In 1972, when George Allen guided the Skins to Super Bowl VII, Sonny was suffering from a torn Achilles tendon.
I remember Don Shula coming up to me and saying, it'd be a better game if you could play in it, Sonny, and gosh, that was sad.
One winner Sonny did get the chance to play for was coaching legend Vince Lombardi.
He was the only coach I ever played for that never mentioned my stomach. And I understand why, I understood why, after my first practice with him, because he almost killed me at practice. He didn't have to be concerned about if you were going to be in condition or not.
His throwing arm and competitive spirit were always in shape. And in 1983, on the day the pot-bellied passer received his induction ring from the Pro Football Hall of Fame, it was Vince Lombardi who Sonny thanked.
It's a privilege and an honor to be enshrined here with him and all the other greats who surround me. All I can say is thanks. I don't think you anticipate being a member of the Hall of Fame if you haven't been on championship teams and won Super Bowls. But that one ring there takes the place of all the Super Bowls that took place in my 18 years.
Irv, did Sonny ever throw the ball behind his back in a game?
Yeah, you know, I was a rookie with the Eagles in '61. We were defending world champions. We were playing a college all-star game in Soldier Field. A defensive lineman came and he couldn't throw the ball over his head, so he flipped it behind his back to Pete Retzlaff for a 15-yard sideline completion. Unbelievable.
All right. It was a great one. Let's send you back now to the stadium and a game you're enjoying on CBS.
Dick Stockton and Hank Stram back in St. Louis at halftime, and the game is hardly a conservative affair, and two teams in a pressure situation. Hank, an important game, and you said at the outset they have to play the way that they know how to play, and that is to attack, and they've done it.
Well, so far the difference in the game is one play. The big play to Stump Mitchell, who went all the way 44 yards, I think, for the touchdown against an unusual defense, the zone defense, which you should not be able to do that against. But he did it anyhow, and that's really the difference in the game so far.
And it happened following a turnover. It was a deflection and an interception by Thomas Howard, and this was the big play.
There's the throw inside against the zone defense. Stump Mitchell makes the catch, and of course he's such a great runner. Courier misses the tackle, number 29, and he goes all the way for the touchdown, which means really at 14-7 at halftime. The St. Louis Cardinals are up by one touchdown, but the Giants are just one play from being back in the game.
5'9" Stump Mitchell, a big play man. He scored 9 touchdowns as a runner this year, but as Hank says, the Giants are capable of the big play as well. Coming back for the third quarter.